Yomama in the house. That's awesome. Big old head. Yeah, so my basic setup for this whole punching deal, obviously we got the big bite baits, Yomama. I really like this bait. I really like the body. The hookups have been really good with this thing. Comes in and out of the grass easy. I pair that up with a 5/0 Trocar monster flip hook. For me, that's just the perfect wire when every time I'm flipping. I'm always using braid to a leader or straight braid. That TK 135 monster flip's a big deal. 1.25 ounce tungsten. You can go heavier, but really I'm just trying to get a weight that just slips through the cover. I don't want something that's too overpowering. 1.25 is really hard to beat for that. I always use a peg to hold everything together. That way the weight doesn't fall away from the bait. I try to keep everything compact, and I use a bobber stop for that. But 40 pound, no vicious, or vicious no fade braid, 40 pound. I don't like getting up there in the 50, 60, 80 pound braids. This one's a fairly thick braid, super smooth. You don't ever break it. Retie every couple hours and you're good. You start going to heavier braids, you're gonna have a harder time getting in and out of the mats. If the wind's blowing, you're gonna get big bows in your line. Personally, I like the 40, but I'm using a high-speed reel. But probably one of the biggest things, this is a rod by favorite, is just the rod. This is a 711 heavy, but a very moderate. So it's almost a softer, very parabolic action rod that'll, whenever I pull into a fish, basically the whole rod loads. And I just really feel like that helps me keep me from blowing the hook out of the fish, blowing the bait out of the fish's mouth. And also whenever I hook that fish, it's almost like a bungee effect to pull them up and out of that cover instead of just a straight up broomstick meat stick. So that's pretty well the setup I use most of the time whenever I'm doing this. And it's taken years to get to this point with everything. But for me, this is the way to go. But yeah, for sure, this big bite Yomama, I really like this green pumpkin with a little bit of black and blue in there. You get a little bit of everything with that color. Obviously, they're feeding heavily on bluegills this time of year, and that's a really hard color to beat in these dark mats.